What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV. Now, I want to say this. It's weird for me talking about this because it's not even about Married to Medicine. To me, it's more so about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, of which Phaedra and Apollo both have not been on for a good while. But Phaedra brought Apollo to the reunion, and in my personal opinion, that was more for Andy than it was for Phaedra, because Andy was drooling, okay, when Apollo showed up. Now, I'm not saying that he was shocked and surprised that he didn't know he was coming. He knew he was coming, but listen, I think Andy's panties might have gotten a little wet, if you know what I mean, because when Apollo walked in the room, Andy almost ran over everybody to get over to Apollo to embrace him. And to me, it's just weird because, not judging any ex-convicts, but I think I think Andy sees Apollo as prison bae. It's just, to me, weird that he wasn't even on the show, but he shows up to the reunion. And it's like, I want to like Phaedra, and she says some things that are funny at times in the confessionals and whatever. We get that. We know that of Phaedra. She has proven that for the many years that she has been a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But the purpose of him being here, and then the things that she said to me, just were not honest. And this is the thing that has always gotten me about Phaedra, because before he showed up to the reunion, she talked about how she loves this group so much because of how they just really value and honor marriages. And maybe if she was in this group when she was married, her marriage would have lasted. First of all, that's not even true, because she tried to make it seem like the ladies of Real Housewives of Atlanta were there rooting for her to be divorced. She shocked people when she was just like, yeah, I'm getting divorced. I don't want to have anything to do with Apollo. I'm not showing up to court. I'm not going to even take my kids to see him in prison. Like, that became a storyline, and it was like maybe a final episode sort of thing, where she took the kids to go and visit him in prison. And I just felt like she just discarded him. But it was her choice to do that. It wasn't because of the people that she was associated with at the time on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, as well as we know because of what was going on. Most people, and I know I did, and I still do, feel that she dismissed herself from him because she did not want to be implicated and wanted to make it seem as if she didn't know about what was going on. And like Todd said, you know all these things about all of these other people, but you don't know what the F your husband is doing when he leaves the house to allegedly go to work every day. Get the F up out of here. And Todd was right. I agree with him 100% then, and I agree with him now. And I also don't believe, as much as they wanted to sit here and say this, I don't believe that Kandi used Apollo for a storyline. I feel that that was something that, in my personal opinion, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section, I feel that Phaedra may have possibly paid him to say, because we know that Phaedra is still angry and bitter with the fact that because of what Kandi demanded, because we know that Andy likes Phaedra, but because of what Kandi demanded, she was not allowed the opportunity to come back to the show. And I've talked about this before, guys. Why in the world would they allow Portia to come back when Portia was just as much involved in that, but Portia played the victim to try to act like, oh, well, Phaedra told me this. And why would you tell me that if that wasn't true? I thought that, And Candy forgave, not immediately, but she forgave Portia. She filmed with her. Yeah, she had the grudge and all of that other stuff. But yet and still, Phaedra wasn't allowed the opportunity to come back. I don't believe that Phaedra needs to be on Married to Medicine. It just doesn't make sense to us. For most people, it's like, where's your boyfriend who's in the medical field? And then the one that you said you're not in a relationship anymore, but now you're in another relationship with another doctor. Where's that one? Like, where are these significant others that are in the medical industry? And then they wanted to put off this, oh, she's a Reiki master. She's into alternative medicine. And then she also has the funeral home. Like, none of that correlates with what the show has really been about. So it just, to me, doesn't make sense that she was there. It's just like somebody gave her the opportunity to be on this show so that she could get a check and try to make sense of it, but it really doesn't make sense. But Apollo showed up and he said some things, and let's just go ahead and get into this.
Phaedra, it's nice to see you.
I see him all the time.
Yeah, you do. You invited him, actually.
I did.
And why was it important for him to be here?
Because the girls have wondered what our relationship was like. Just like, wow, when you ask about him, I will make him appear.
Wow.
Now that he is risen. All right. Poof.
Yes.
I mean, basically, Toy had asked about Apollo, and sometimes they'll say, well, we're going to call Apollo, these little jokes. I thought he came out with his dad. I really and truly believe that if he's a good father to the kid, then he should be president. Who cares about his prison record? And I'm like,
oh, no. I didn't joke. I didn't laugh. But my issue was really if I asked a question, like when we were at the spa, you immediately took offense.
what did you tell the boys happened between them, you and the dad?
They read. They do.
They read about it?
Yeah. And you got a little defensive, and I was like, I'm not coming for you. I really am just trying to get to know you. That's it.
Well, I just want to kind of clear the air, too. Phaedra and I's relationship, it's, at this point, it's kind of impeccable at this moment. It started out topsy-turvy when I first came home. I was, always upset. She was upset. We were meeting at Chick-fil-A to see the kids. And I'm like, hey, when is this going to change? When is this going to evolve into something, more authentic?
You are remarried, right?
Correct, yeah.
And how does your wife feel about you being here today?
She's fine with it.
Yeah.
How does your wife feel about you cheating in that Ring camera? But that's another story.
Here today.
She's fine with it. She's cool. We're kind of trying to blend. It takes time,
Phaedra, what is your relationship with his new wife?
We don't have one.
Okay.
So their relationship is kind of impeccable, but she doesn't have her. Not saying that you have to be friends with the new wife, but I don't believe them. I don't believe that they have this great relationship.
I have one.
Okay. Might you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Last I saw you, you were in front of that garage, and it was no good.
Yeah.
Apollo, I might not even be here when you come back.
Well, you always left me. You took everything from me.
Did I, baby?
No, you all remember that scene. And see, this is why I say for her to try to put it off on other people as to why she chose to leave her marriage, when those charges came down, she had already dismissed herself from him and then wasn't really talking to the other ladies on Real Housewives of Atlanta about it. So she was the one that was adamant on the divorce.
How long were you in the joint?
5.5 years.
5.5?
Yeah, 5.5.
Look, oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
When all of that happened, I was pregnant with our second child. I was going to school in Alabama. I was on the road every morning at 4 a.m.
You were on the Housewives.
On the Housewives, working at my law firm, working at a funeral home. So I had a lot on my plate.
But hey, time heals everything. And where we're at now, everything's healed, I think.
I'm so glad. Will there be a day that you're allowed to come over to the house?
Well, I come over to the house all the time.
You do?
All the time.
He just doesn't come inside.
He just doesn't come inside.
Yeah, I don't go.
So they have an impeccable relationship, but he can't even step foot inside of the house. What are you talking about?
Okay. There was a lot of buzz when you were going away and your stuff was in Candy's garage. Are you still in touch with Todd?
That's funny that you mentioned that. No, Todd and I just seen each other probably last week.
Okay.
So Todd basically wanted me to, I guess he wanted to kind of apologize. You know, it's like a lot of things happen just to make a storyline. And I'm not sure if you really understood the adverse effect to what you did, but there was one.
What are they talking about? That was real stuff that was going on. So you mean to tell me that you didn't want them to mention anything about it, even though that was something that was really going on, whether it involved Apollo or not, it really was going on. And how about Phaedra using Candy as a storyline, in my personal opinion, versus, even though we know she was going through the divorce or whatever, but she didn't really want to share much about Apollo, about what was really going on, what she knew, what she found out, what she didn't know, vice versa. And she, in my personal opinion, made Candy into her storyline about, well, Candy wasn't really there for me when I was going through what I was going through.
But there was one.
No, by the way, I think it was reported that you and Joe Giudice were in the same place. Is that true?
Yeah,
Yes.
we were, yeah.
And did you know him there?
Yeah, I seen him, but then I got taken to the SHU. I got into a little issue, so I went to the SHU for a while, about 100
Okay,
days.
the SHU is solitary.
Solitary.
even know what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are.
so solid, yeah, the whole, like,
no.
solitary.
Like, what?
Yeah, for like about 100 days, or like 90 days.
No.
Yeah, so then I was taken from the side he was at. He was on the west side, and then later after that,
I mean, when you saw Joe Giudice for the first time, were you guys like, hey?
just kind of laughed it off. You know, he's with his little crew, and I was with mine.
I kind of want to know why you got put in the shoe, but I kind of don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
off the camera.
Okay. Okay, let me move on with some other questions.
Listen, that was just so awkward and weird because the other cast, as they sat around, the male doctors and even the female doctors, it was just like, not judging that this is an ex-con, but it's like, we're these professionals sitting up here and we're sitting here talking about a man who went to prison for a white-collar crime, who was put in solitary confinement, who was hanging out with another criminal, Joe Giudice. Like, we have nothing in common with this guy. I don't care how nice he cleans up and has showed up here today. He wasn't around when they were filming the show, so it was just like, you all are bringing up Real Housewives of Atlanta stuff to Married to Medicine. It was just weird. But I feel that Married to Medicine and Phaedra, it doesn't make sense. The thing of her and Apollo and, well, we have an impeccable relationship now, but he couldn't show up when you were filming the show. He can't show up and step foot in your house. We don't even believe that. I mean, he couldn't even get a shirt that fits because he's busting out of the shirt. He's busting out of the shirt that he was wearing. I don't know if you all saw that, but it was just weird to me. I'm not feeling Phaedra being on Married to Medicine. I'm really not. And Apollo, I don't believe the things that he sat up there and said. And I also don't believe that they were even relevant to being a part of the show. So it was almost like the rest of the cast could have gotten up and went and taken a break while Andy just sat there with Phaedra and Apollo for a little bit, because of course we know he wanted to see Apollo and that was what that was really about. But Phaedra acting as if she had been a part of this crew while she was going through what she was going through, she would have done anything differently. She absolutely would not have. And I don't even think any of those ladies would have been sitting there encouraging her to stay in her marriage to this man that was all over the news, that was going to be convicted for I believe, what was it a federal crime? I don't even know. But I'm just saying, the marriages that have been a part of Married to Medicine, Dr. Jackie and Curtis, even though most of us can't stand Curtis, okay, but that's the loser that she's chosen to be with and whatever. But I don't think that things would have been the same had she been a part of this crew. I don't think they would have been sitting there encouraging her to wait it out, hold your man down, like they like to say about people that are going to jail or going to prison. Hold him down. Girl, that's your marriage. You don't want to throw away your marriage. Just hold him down. He'll be out in 5 years. I don't think it would have I don't think it would have changed anything, okay? So Phaedra, get up out of here with the blame and the, oh, things probably would have been different had I been with this group of ladies when I was going. No, you weren't just going through a situation where he was cheating on you. You were going through a situation where we know what happened and we believe she knows what happened too, but didn't want to be a part of it. Hell, she had a freaking exorcism or whatever, you want to call it, where she had, remember the pastor, whoever he was, and his wife came to the house, and they were going through the house, casting out demons. All of that stuff was because Apollo was locked up and he wasn't going to be coming back into her home. She was the one that was doing these things. It wasn't like Candy and Kenya and Cynthia and whoever else was on the show at the time came to her house to do this weird stuff that she had this pastor come in to do in her house. And then I'll never forget that. Oh my God. When the guy was walking through the house, he was saying whatever he was saying, casting out the demons or whatever. And then the cameraman put the camera on the picture of Apollo in the house. They are so shady. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm just not buying it. Phaedra, she does not need to be on the show anymore. And I don't believe that they have this impeccable relationship. I just really don't. I believe she possibly slid him a few dollars so that he would show up. And that's it. And that's all. So anyway, guys, you let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Guys, thanks so much for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, wanted to keep it brief, beautiful. And now I'm going to say bye.